Hi everybody, welcome back to another lesson with 101 Guitar Lessons. My name is Lauren and this is
Dylan.
And today we are on lesson number 3 for learning how to play the guitar, right? It is lesson 3, isn't it?
Right.
Right, exactly. Okay, so quick recap. So far we've learned the finger exercises. We learned the minor pentatonic scale. And we learned power chords. Mainly the A, D, and E, right? Open power chords. And then what we did after that is we learned the blues shuffle. Right? That's just a quick skip through it. And then we learned how to move around the power chords on the 6th fret, or the 6th string, right? So we were taking this shape, pretending that we were playing something here, and then sliding that up. So we're moving over one string and up 2 frets. We've got that power chord shape. Right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, what I'm going to tell you is we can do, getting into the lesson now, the same thing on the 5th string, okay? So this is a 6th root power chord. We're going to learn the 5th root power chord now, meaning we can do the same thing on the 5th string. So if we play that A power chord, go ahead and play the A for me. That A power chord. Awesome. Try to move your finger a little bit closer to the fret. Remember, everybody, you want your finger to be as close to the fret as possible, okay? Good, and that sounded great. It sounded nice and clear. What I want you to do is take your 3rd finger and put it where your 1st finger is. Good. Now put your 1st finger over here behind the nut on the 5th string and slide everything up 1 fret. So you went up 2 frets.
Oh.
There you go. Go ahead and play that. Good, now go up another 2 frets to the 3rd fret and the 5th fret. Awesome. So it's the exact same thing, right? It's the exact same shape as you were playing on the 6th and the 5th string. You're now playing that on the 5th and the 4th string, right?
Right.
And wherever your 1st finger ends up, that determines the name of the chord. So if you want to play a G on the 6th, you'd be playing it on the 3rd fret. On the 5th, you'd be playing it up here on the 10th fret. Now, I know it's a different octave, but it's the same note. They're both G. So what we talked about last time was how do we find the notes on the neck in order to be able to play them, right? Because if you want to play a song, you know, any pop song that's popular on the radio, or a cool blues song, or country tune, or anything in between, you got to know where to find the notes, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're just kind of lost. Now, we learned that A was on the 5th fret last time, which was kind of cool. But let's figure out how to learn that kind of for ourselves and find it for ourselves, okay?
Okay.
In order to do that, we have to look at the piano. Now, hold up. Why do we have to look at the piano? That doesn't make any sense. We're playing the guitar. Well, we're not going to go into some big theory lesson or anything like that, but we have to understand the basics of the piano because all the music that we're used to hearing is based on the layout of the keys on the piano. Make sense? So, we're going to take a look at the piano really quickly, and then we'll go from there. Cool?
Cool.
All right. Okay, Dylan, here we are. This is the smallest, most compact little keyboard that I have. But it's basically a piano. And if we look at it, we can break it up into 2 sections, okay? Because the notes repeat again and again. What was the musical alphabet that we had discussed back in lesson 1?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Awesome. So there's only 7 notes. There's only 7 notes. How are there all these keys if there's only 7 notes? Well, it's because those notes just repeat themselves again and again and again. An octave higher, an octave lower, but it's the same notes. So, for example, if we wanted to find a C, okay, we would look at this section of the piano right here that has 2 black keys, okay? And then there's this section with 3 black keys, and this section with 2, and then 3, and that pattern kind of repeats, right? The black keys give us these visual cues. So I like to look at this section with 2 as little face. There's a nose, 2 eyes, maybe the cheeks, okay? All right, and then the 3 black keys, I kind of like to look at as the 3-eyed monster. So there's little face, three-eyed monster, little face, three-eyed monster, right? And if it was a whole piano, it would just repeat again and again and again and again. Okay? But we just need to break off one little section, just this little section here. Okay? Little face, three-eyed monster. Cool? All right, so if I look right here at this cheek of the little face, that's the C. Okay? All the white keys are the natural notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, have you heard the term like A sharp or B flat or D sharp, like notes like that? It sounds kind of complicated, right? All that means, those are the black keys. And the black keys are basically borrowing their name from their neighbor here, okay? So, for example, here's the C, right? Okay, this next one up is the D. The next one up, just talking white keys now, C, D, E. What do you think this is?
F.
Then?
G. A. B.
And then?
C.
Exactly, it goes all the way around like a loop, right? So if we started over here so we had more space, we go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. On and on and on and on. Make sense? Cool. So, again, we'll look at those small face, the eyes, and the three-eyed monster, right? And I said these black keys are called accidentals, and they borrow their name from their neighbors. So if we, after C, we have a black key here, all right? This would be called C sharp, because it sounds one higher. This is a C here on the guitar. This is a C sharp. It's a bit higher in sound, right? So the smallest step we can take is going from one key to the next. There's nothing in between. There's no note in between. That's called a semitone or a halftone. Can you say semitone?
Semitone.
Or halftone?
Or halftone.
Means the same thing, okay? So if I went up a semitone from C, I'd get to C sharp. Up a semitone from C sharp would be D. Does that make sense? Up a semitone from D would be D sharp. Up a semitone from D sharp would be
E.
That's right. Awesome. So that's the basics. Now I'm just talking sharps. What about flats? Well, guess what? These black keys are sandwiched in between two white keys, right? All of them are. So they borrow their names either from the one before or the one after. Let's go back to C for a second. So C up a semitone is C sharp, right? But C sharp is also one below D. So if I went down from D to that same note, it could also be called a D flat. So this one note has two names. It could be D sharp, or sorry, C sharp or D flat. Make sense? So here, the reason why it's called C sharp is because it's next to C. The reason why it's called D flat is because it's next to D. All right, it's one lower than D. We're good with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, you'll notice that two eyes, three-eyed monster, that thing repeats again and again. There's two groups of keys here that don't have a black key in between them. Right? Well, that's a little weird. What does that mean? It means that there's no sharp or flat between those groups of keys. In every other key, there is. But in those two groups, there aren't. So it's easier to remember what there aren't, because there's only two to memorize, right? So here, if we look at C, and the one before it is B, there's no black key in between B and C. That means there is no B sharp or C flat. It doesn't exist. Cool?
Cool.
So B and C, say it.
B and C.
No black key between B and C.
No black key between B and C.
It's a nice little rhyme, right? Now, if we look at the other group, if we go C, D, E, well, E and F. There's no black key between E and F, right? So that means there's no E sharp or F flat. So there's no black key between E and F. Say it.
There's no black key between E and F.
All right, that one doesn't rhyme, but it's still easy to remember. So the first one was B and C. The second one was E and F. There's no black key, so there's no sharp or flat between them, right? But in between everything else, there is. So that's it for the piano. Don't worry, it's not going to get more complicated than that. Let's take a look at the whiteboard just to make sure that we have it and it makes sense, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so here is the whiteboard. I took the time to fill out some of the notes and the names, okay? My arts and crafts skills are wonderful. As you can see, I'm a fantastic artist. But you can see well enough that it looks kind of like a piano, right? You've got the white keys, and then these would be the black keys. I didn't color them black because I actually had to write something in there and you wouldn't be able to see it otherwise. But if you look right over here, that little face, three-eyed monster, right? You've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, on and on and on and on, right? These black keys borrow their name from C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, and there's no black key between
E and F.
And
B and C.
Awesome. So we're going to remember that when we move to the guitar right now. Look at your guitar. What's the name of the sixth string?
Low E.
Awesome. So because this is naturally an E, we know that this is like a piano starting on the note
E.
That's right. So imagine there are no other strings. There's just the one string. Forget about all the other strings for a minute. This string here can be thought of as a piano with keys starting on the note E. Now, if we went up one fret, we don't have white frets and black frets. They're all the same, right? Mm-hmm. But the distance from note to note is just like one key to another key. The smallest step we can take is a semitone. One fret to another is a semitone or a half tone, okay?
Okay.
2 semitones equals a whole tone. Really easy math. It doesn't get more complicated than that because we're musicians. We're not mathematicians, okay? So it's super simple. Half plus half equals a whole. Yeah? So C to D is a whole step. Yeah? Mm-hmm. C to C sharp is a half step. Right? Okay. Dylan gets a little bit shy in front of the camera. Don't worry. All right. So now that we know that, this is a low E, right? So up one key from E, we're going to
F.
Because there's no black key in between. If there's a black key, it would be E sharp, but it doesn't exist, so we're going right to F. So the first fret is
F.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Now if we went up a half step from F, we're going to get to this note, which would be F sharp. F sharp. It can also be called G flat, right? Same note with 2 names, because it borrows its names from its neighbors, okay? So, starting again from E, we're going up 1 fret. I want you to play it now. Play the first fret on the low E string. Play that note. You're playing an F, right? Now go up another semitone or a half step. At the 2nd fret, play that note. You're playing an F sharp, okay? That would be like the black key. Now I would like you to play the 3rd fret, 1 fret up. That is now
G.
Right, play it. Good. And the next one up from G would be G
Sharp.
sharp. That's right. Go ahead and play it. And then from G sharp, you're going to go up to
A flat.
Nope, G sharp is A flat. That's the same note because it borrows, right? This is a
A.
That's right. Good. Now we're on A. We're going to go up a half step, which is 1 fret on the guitar, to A
Sharp.
Right. Play it. Then from A sharp, we're going up a half step to
B.
Yes. Good. From B, we're going up a half step to
C.
Why? Why not B sharp?
C sharp.
Well, but why not B sharp? Because there's no black key, right? So you were right. It goes to C. So we're here now. Good. And up 1 from C would be C
Sharp.
right.
Here?
Yeah. Up 1 from C sharp would be
D.
right. Now we're getting really high. We're going to go just a few more. Up 1 from D would be
D sharp.
Yeah. And then 1 more from D sharp would be
E.
That's it. Now that's the 12th fret. Everything repeats at the 12th fret. What note did we just say? We said E, right? What's the name of this note? Open.
F.
Open. Like the string. When you play it open, it's the low
E.
and we just played E at the 12th fret. Everything repeats at the 12th fret. Cool? So if we then did that, and we decided to do it backwards from E, we would go and we'd use the flat names just because it's easier to remember that way. You're going lower, so it's flat from that name note. So if we started from E, then E flat, D, D flat, okay, and on, right? That makes sense? Okay, good. So that's all that we need to know for the 6th string. If I said, Dylan, can you find a G on the low E string? Well, you'd have to think about it, right? But if you followed this pattern, you'd be able to find it. So let's try to find a G on the 6th string. Play the low E. Play the low E, just open. We know that's an E. Up 1 fret from E is?
F?
Yep. Up 1 fret from F is?
G.
Where are we? 1 fret is like 1 key. That's right. And up 1 fret from F sharp would be?
G.
We found our G. Cool? Now what if I said, find me an A on the 6th string? Do the same thing and try to find the A note. So start from open E.
Open E.
And you go up 1 fret, just like 1 key on the piano would be. What note is that?
That's F.
Yes.
F sharp.
Mm-hmm.
G. A.
After G?
Oh, G sharp. A.
Perfect. Don't forget about those black keys, right? Every note to note to note. The smallest step we can take is a semitone or a half step. That's like fret to fret to fret, okay? That was great. Awesome. Now, I'm going to test you. This is going to be challenging. You ready? The 5th string, what's the name of the 5th string?
A.
Right. So let's forget about all the other strings on the guitar, and let's imagine that we just have the 5th string, and the 5th string is like a piano starting on the note A. So I want you to find me a D note, D for Dylan, all right, on the 5th string. How would you do that? Well, you'd play A open, and then you'd go up 1 fret or 1 key. What note would that be? So from A, we're going up 1 fret or 1 key.
A sharp.
Good. And then you're going up 1 fret or 1 key, same thing.
B.
And then up 1 from B would be?
C.
Because there's no B sharp, right? And then up 1 from C would be?
C sharp.
Play that again. Good. And up 1 from C sharp would be?
D.
Yeah. You found the D. Cool? So it's a really cool formula to find your way around the 6th and the 5th string. Does that make sense? All right, good. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll be able to answer that for you. But it should be fairly straightforward. So let's put this away. I'll put it behind you here and I'll pick up my guitar. And now we had played the A blues, right, last time with power chords. We played it here, just because I told you it was at the 5th fret, and the D you played up here at the 10th fret, which happens to be D, we know that, and then the low E, right? But what if we didn't have to go A, D, and jump around so much, because that was a lot of jumping around, right? So what if now I knew that here's the A, because I know E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. On the 5th string, I want to play the D. Okay, so A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Well, guess what? That's right there. That's so much easier than jumping all the way up here, right? So I can play A as a 6th root bar chord, D as a 5th root bar chord, and then E, well, D and E are pretty close in the alphabet, right? So D, D sharp, E. That's at the 7th fret of the 5th string. So I've got A, D, E. bars of D, 2 bars of A, 1 bar of E, 1 bar of D, A, E. Okay, let's take a closer look and make sure that that's nice and easy. The A is here, the D is here, the E is here. How did we figure that out? By saying E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Okay, that's at the 5th fret for the 6th root, right? We already know the shape, 1 string over 2 frets up. That's my power chord. Now, for the 5th string, we're going to play A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. D is our next chord. We're playing it here. And E is the next chord after that. Well, if I know this is D, D, D sharp, E. There's my E. It's really close together, right? So I've got the A on the 5th or the 6th root. The D and the E are both on the 5th root. Okay? Let's do that together now. Just count it with me, the A blues. 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. D,
2, 3, 4.
A, 2, 3, 4.
A,
2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4.
A.
Cool? All right. So now you know how to do that, but it's not just stuck to the blues. We can do that with any song. It's just that we're using the song that we're familiar with right now to keep it nice and simple. We know what it sounds like, right? So it would be an easy reference point to try. All right? So I would like you to practice that this week. Okay? We're not going to do that right now in the lesson. We're going to save that for next week. What I want to do today, though, is I want to teach you an open chord. An open E major chord. So we've been playing all these rock power chords, and we can play them anywhere now. But we haven't yet learned the open chords. So I played an E, an A, and a D there. Again, we're using the same chords just for reference, but there's also C, G, B minor, F, A minor, all those different chords, and we're going to learn all of them. But for right now, let's start with one, E major. Okay? So, what I'd like you to do is put your fingers where I tell you. Your second finger is going to go on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Good. Your third finger is going to go on the 4th string, 2nd fret, tucked in right behind it. Awesome. Make sure you're not on the fret, but right before it. Good. Now your first finger is going to go on the 3rd string, 1st fret. 3rd string, 1st fret. Yeah, that's good. Now, keep your pinky off because you're not doing anything and open up the space between. Yeah, that's good. So what I want you to do is try to arpeggiate, meaning play it 1 string at a time, all the strings. It'll sound like this. Okay? Let's try that. Now strum it. Awesome. Now, you did something really cool and advanced. You were making small adjustments with your hand as you heard it getting a little bit buzzed. You felt maybe originally the 2nd string was being tickled under your 1st finger, right? You kind of felt it. So you slightly moved your hand out of the way and opened up. And that's what made it come out really clear. So let's try that again. That's the E major chord. Let's try to arpeggiate it first. Stop.
I got all mixed up.
Yeah, let's start it 1 string at a time. Again, 6th string, 5th, 4th, 3rd. That's good. 3rd, 2nd, 1st. That chunk of your hand. There you go. That's why you need that space in between your hand and the guitar, right? Strum it. Good. Now, notice your fingers collapsing a little bit? Yeah, you want to keep your fingers nice and curved. You can let go now. Rest your hand. You're not used to pressing so many fingers down at the same time, right? So it's a little bit challenging. But the reason why we waited a couple of lessons before we started playing these chords is so that you could build up your strength and coordination with the finger exercises and the scales and the power chords, so that doing this wouldn't be such a big deal. Okay? So you're doing great. That's the E major chord. Okay, let's take a closer look at how to play the E major chord. 6th string open. 5th string, 2nd fret with your 2nd finger. 4th string, 2nd fret with your 3rd finger. 3rd string, 1st fret with your 1st finger. 2nd string open, 1st string open, meaning we're not actually touching it. And you got to make sure there's space in between your 1st finger and those strings, otherwise you'll hear that buzzing. So as I move it around, you'll hear that. Okay? And there's space in between your hand and the neck as well. So that's your open E major chord. Today's lesson, open E major chord and how to find the notes on the guitar, and then practicing those power chords with the A blues progression that we already know. And if you want to get really, really, creative, you can start looking at how to play different songs. And if it says like, G, D, E, C, for example, you could play those power chords, G, D, E, C. That could sound familiar to a lot of people. But there you go. That's the idea right there, to get you started playing some cool stuff and some big open chords. Any questions? All right, if you have questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. This is 101 Guitar Lessons. Please like, share, and subscribe. My name is Lauren.
Dylan.
And we'll see you guys on the next lesson. Bye.